welcome back. Murphy Wines. We're going to do something special here today. It's something that's haven't done this before, so it's going to be a little bit raw. Could digress a little bit. As some of you may know, I'm making my own wine, and what I want to do in this video is kind of just go through the individual components which I've got here, and then the final blend that I've put together. I just want to go through these, just going to talk through from a buyer's point of view and a blending point of view what I'm actually looking for, what I'm trying to get across, and what the focus is, and what I'm trying to develop to kind of put in the bottle and then get it out into market. So this video, hopefully it's not too long, but it's going to be quite geeky and quite informative. It's going to be, it might spark some questions, so if you've got questions, please just hit me up in the comments below. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, helps me out. And if you've got requests or anything, I'm more than happy to look into that. There's going to be some more videos kind of coming. That's going to be a little bit longer in nature, just because the whole thing about wine and the wine industry in general is actually quite complex, especially as you start to get past the beginner's phase. So there is a lot more to cover. So I'm doing a separate video about how to taste wine, for the intermediate to touching on advanced points, which I'll release soon. But this one, let's just get stuck in. Okay, so hopefully all of you who are watching this have seen the beginner's guide to tasting, and like I've mentioned before during those videos, what's really important is a consistent routine and tasting things in exactly the same way. So I'm obviously going to do that. I'm using the same glasses that I normally would use doing these kind of things. I've got my little spittoon here, and I've got 3 different components. So what I have done, what I'm looking for is I've got a wine. It's 100% Shiraz. It's all from the same vineyard. It's actually from almost a row, like an exact row. It's very unique, and there has been a portion of this that was handpicked. So I've only made 2 ton in this vintage. A quarter of that was handpicked. Obviously wanted to do that deliberately to be able to add a whole bunch component and complexity to the wine. And then also part of this as well was just to really look at how we can sing and talk about where this wine comes from. So I'm looking at 3 components. I'm looking at plastic component, where a portion of this wine went through a crusher. It was crushed normally, destemmed, machine picked, destemmed, and then fermented in a plastic vessel. We wanted to really capture and keep the aromatics and the really pristine fruit profile that we got from this vineyard. So doing that in stainless steel or in plastic tank helps you keep that locked in, and using that as a component helps lift the aromatics up. The second component is a 2017 French oak hogshead. It's old oak, been used 5 or 6 times. And again, it's not imparting oak flavors so much. There is a lick of toast. What it's doing is it's adding texture. It's adding the wine's ability to go through micro-oxygenation. What I've also done with this portion of the oak is lees stirring. So for the last few months, the winemaker Jason Schwartz, who I've worked with for a very long time, he's been stirring the lees for me, and again I'm trying to get more texture, more complexity out of the wine, especially on the length and the back end of the palate, which is what lees stirring is going to do. The final component is a French puncheon, so a slightly bigger vessel. So first one, as you can see here, it's just in a little vessel. These were taken yesterday. I've already obviously gone through these, and I'm really super happy with that. And again, not just saying that, I'm actually really happy with how these have come out. So tank, again, this is literally what I'm hoping to get out of this, and what I know I have gotten because I've tasted this already, is just a huge amount of aroma and a huge amount of and really the easy ability to identify the purity of fruit. And that's what it is. It's really dark cherry. It's juicy. It's bubblegummy. Lots of dark fruits. Very little to no red fruit. I really wanted a dark fruit like blackcurrant, blackberry, black cherry kind of take. And yeah, this is just super aromatic. So as you notice here, looking at the colour, if you can kind of see that colour there, get a little bit closer. It's just super purple, really pristine. There's a little bit of depth to the color as well, so you can't actually see through. It's quite dense, but no oranging, no browning, or anything on the rim of the glass. As you can see, if I hold it up against the white, really fresh, deep purpley color, which is great. So I'm going to do a video on how to spit. That'll come up because I think it's actually a good trick and something that's actually good to be able to spit into one thing and not have it drip all down your face, especially when it's really inky Shiraz like this. So what I did with that is I obviously kept it in the palate just for a little bit longer, because what I really wanted to do was focus on the core. And again, I'll touch on this when I do, I suppose, a serious in-depth how to taste wine professionally. But focusing on the core, it's basically allowing me to hold the wine in my palate for an extended period of time, more so than what you would do when you're normally drinking, because I really want to experience the sensations that are going on in the palate. I want to be able to know exactly what this wine is going to do, when the sensations are going to happen, and how long they last for. So with this wine, it's got a lot of bubble gum, a lot of juice to it, but really approachable, very easy to drink. Absolutely no warming that you get in your nose when you smell kind of aroma, and a really good way to kind of test this and to develop your ability to detect higher alcohol is go and smell whiskey and smell vodka and smell that kind of stuff and understand what that burning sensation is. And when wines get to a certain point, you can actually feel it in your nose and you can feel it in your throat. So I think this is it's not showing any of those, so the wine is super balanced, just really perfumed, fragrant, and pristine fruit, which is really what I'm after. I want to be able to say, hand on heart, say no bruised fruit, no damaged bunches have gone into this wine, and from nosing that, I can absolutely say that. Next component is the Hogshead. So this is what's had the extended lees stirring as well. So this was, and to kind of just go back a little bit, this was all picked in March this year, 2022. And it's been in oak. It's all finished now, so it's gone through primary fermentation. It's gone through malolactic fermentation, and it's now been maturing in barrel for the last few months. So I'm aiming to release this wine in November, so it's still got a couple more months in its softening to go. But as far as the process, it's all finished. Now, what's really interesting and a massive difference straight away is the aroma. It is a lot more pronounced on the tank sample, which is obvious. That's what we're kind of expecting. But the aroma is slightly more elegant and a little bit more delicate. So what I mean by that is it's not jumping out of the glass as much, but what's there is actually very layered. Where this one is mainly fruit, it's mainly, as I was saying, blackcurrant, black cherry, bubblegummy, and that kind of stuff. This has a little bit more blossom, a little bit more floral, and maybe just a little bit of spice. Like again, nothing too much. It's not obviously oaked, because that's not what I was going for, but there is just a little bit of layers on that to kind of just give the oak a nod to go, yeah, I have seen oak, but it's really old oak. Now, again, the colour on this is really similar to the other one. Sorry, I'm trying to get, there we go, that's probably a little bit better. Again, like really pristine fruit colour as well, so we're looking at like a really vibrant purple. And it's dense, like you can't see through that. You can't see your hand through that, for instance, not at the core. And yeah, so I'm really happy with that colour. That's just, yeah, it's a good indication of the quality of fruit that went into this. That again, there was no rot. It was really clean, really pristine. Massive difference in palate. straight away the sensations are more emphasized, more mouth-watering, which is very different from the first one. Another thing that I think is really important when tasting wine is being aware of the first wine of the day, and the sensations that you get when you have the first wine are always emphasized. And being that the tank sample was the first wine that I've had today, I'm going to go through that quickly again on the palate. And then I'm going to compare straight away to the Hogshead. So the tannin on the plastic tank it sits on your gums, on your teeth, on your cheeks a little bit more than what the Hogshead does. The Hogshead is giving a more overall tannin feel, but the tannin on the plastic feels a little bit rougher, not as smooth or as soft as the Hogshead. I'm doing all of this in clean, polished glasses as well. Again, obviously I'm a massive wine geek, so what I've done is clean these glasses in hot soapy water, and then rinse them with really, really hot water and steam them, and then polish them. Polished out that steam and that hot water, so it's really, really pristine, clean, and no other fragrance in there, no soap residue or anything like that. This is quite similar to the Hogshead. Just to go back on the Hogshead, it's not showing the lees finish that I was hoping for. It's there. There is a little bit of biscuity doughiness coming through, but it's very, very small. So that is going to continue to go through lee stirring. So I'm going to hope that is actually brought forward a little bit more, just to aid in giving the wine a lot more length, a lot more complexity. Onto the third component. The fragrance is really similar. It's got that kind of softer, more delicate, elegant aroma to it. It's not as pronounced as the wine out of tank. The colour is again really consistent with the last one that we've had. So you can see there, real nice deep purple, really clean, pristine. It's dense and just super youthful, and it's just really appealing. Again, just to kind of hammer the importance of really clean, pristine, perfect bunches, perfect fruit going into this. And the way that is dictated is prior to kind of agreeing that we wanted to use this grower, Jason and I went to the actual vineyard, had a look at the bunches. Jason did some tests on how far away it was from becoming hitting the kind of phenolic ripeness, as well as the ripeness that you expect when you're tasting it, when you're chewing the grapes, and had a time frame. So we monitored those grapes probably from about 2 to 3 weeks out. We were there almost once a week, just kind of tasting the berries and taking stuff, and Jason was taking stuff and analysing and making sure everything was kind of doing what it was supposed to do before we decided on a picking date. So also as part of that inspection, initially we were looking at the bunches and how well formed they were. Were the berries consistent in size across all bunches? Were the bunches quite plump and big and weighty, or were they like kind of small and a little bit kind of separated and kind of random, which obviously wasn't the case. So we had a lot of really solid bunches that I'll have photos of that I'll chuck into this as well, that went into that, and also some images of us picking. So really happy with the grape quality here. There's a little bit of a sneaky backstory to what happened is, obviously with the anti-dumping policy that the Chinese government have imposed on Australian wine, and the tariffs that have come in place, that has put a lot of pressure on the wine industry here, because a lot of growers and then therefore a lot of wineries were relying on that as a market. And since that's gone away, you've had a lot more wine in the market, a lot more grapes in the market, and it's very saturated. So this is actually a really highly graded wine that would normally go into high-end wine from a really well-known producer, but obviously they got delisted as part of the loss of that market. So we got a really good opportunity to showcase some really good fruit from a grower that's been in the industry a while and doesn't have a massive block, and we took a couple of rows. So back to the puncheon. Again, aromatics really similar, happy with the colour again. The development is going in the right way. This is actually, it's quite similar to the Hogshead, which is kind of to be expected, I suppose. The main thing that I'm getting across all of these is a really nice perfume, a really scented finish. What I mean by scented finish is I'm able to taste the fruit still as I'm talking in my back palate. I'm still getting that aftertaste of black cherry, pristine black ripe cherry, black currants, all that kind of stuff. So when I refer to a scented length, and you might see me write that when I do the tasting notes for this, or you might hear me talk about a scented length, that's what I mean. It's literally the aftertaste that I get after having this wine in my mouth, swallowing it or spitting it, and then what I'm actually tasting. Is it scented as in fruit, or is it creamy, or is it savoury? So this is not creamy, not savoury, it's very scented and ripe and fruity, which again is to be expected because it's a really youthful wine. Finally, I've done the blend. So this is the final put together sample of what this wine is going to look like when I release it in November. It's obviously still a little bit of time away from that, but this is a really good indicator of what it's going to look like. So overall, the final blend, again, colour, super happy with. Deep purple again, really consistent across all of the different vessels. And what's just to kind of touch on that, the wine develops differently in these different vessels, but that's why we're doing it. I wanted the ability to not do 100% oaked wine, to do some whole bunch, fresh tank, whether it be plastic or stainless steel, to really hammer home the approachability of this wine initially, to get the fruit feeling across so people can actually nose and smell the factual descriptors that I'll be using. So ripe black cherry, black currant, a little bit of mulled wine kind of aroma, a spiciness like allspice and cloves. And that's what I'm trying to go for. You be the judge when you get to taste it, I suppose. So yeah, aroma, I'm really happy with. Looking at the different components, I've been able to use the plastic tank to help lift the wine, which is really important because I wanted something that was really pronounced and jumps out of the glass, which is exactly what this does. Then the component of the hogshead is there to add layers and complexity, so with that micro-oxygenation and allowing the wine to create this palate weight, so it feels a little bit heavier in your palate, but also helping balance and integrate all the other components like alcohol. I can't spit that out. So happy with that. The style that I was trying to go for was something that you can have a second or third glass. I think the emphasis for me is on value for money and quality in the glass and the pristine fruit profile, and being able to actually, for me as a wine professional, to be able to taste that and talk about it is real. And that's what I want to try and get through with this wine that I'm making, is that you guys as consumers, like, kind of interested in wine and want to taste and want to learn about wine, this is a step in that direction. I'm not trying to make a Grange or like a Northern Rhone, something crazy. Like it's not a Shiraz for me stylistically. It's more of a Syrah. So it's an elegant, restrained example, but it's by no means simple. It's layered, it's complex, but it's approachable and it's developed, and you can enjoy this wine now or in years to come as well. Like I'm still going to taste this as we kind of go through this until it's released, but putting a time frame on, like, don't touch this wine for 5 years or 10 years, it's not what I'm trying to do on this either. Like, I want it to be able to be consumed on day one when you buy it, which you can. Having tasted that now, I would like to happily drink this now, but the extra few months it's going to have is just going to enable it to really mellow out and settle, which is really exciting. But yeah, from a complexity and value for money point of view, I'm hoping to get this wine I want to do this environmentally friendly as possible. So the research that I've done so far, I'm going to try and use. I'm meeting with the glass people next week. But my aim, and I'll keep everyone updated on that, my aim is to use 100% recycled glass. I use 100% recycled stock for the labels. I'm not going to use screw cap, even though screw cap is the best thing for wines as far as maturation and protection against faults and stuff like that. But I'm going to use as best cork as I can get my hands on. It's recyclable, it's natural, it breaks down, it's not leaving an imprint, so that's really important to me. So I'm going to use cork, and I'm going to wax seal it, so I'm not using a plastic capsule to cover that. And then the cardboard in the boxes, I'm hoping, are also going to be 100% recycled, just to try and really limit the impact that I'm having on that, but still able to support people within the industry and work with growers and work with Jason, who's helped me make this wine, which is I'm super happy with. So I've got no idea of a name, branding. All I know is it's probably going to be in a Burgundian style bottles, and what I've already told you, hopefully it's going to be between $35 and $40, which I think is quite good value. I'd be pretty happy if I paid $35-40 for that bottle of wine. But we'll see. There's only going to be 2,000 bottles made. Someone's going to go to the UK, and the rest is going to make its way around Australia, hopefully. That's it. Really hope you enjoyed this. Please, again, like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and there's going to be more coming soon. And keep an eye out for my new website that'll come out, where this wine will be able to be purchased, and we'll do like a real simple wine club as well, and offer people kind of first release discounts and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, please follow me on Instagram, follow me everywhere, keep in touch, and any questions, put them in, and see you again soon. Mayflower Wines.